It was so scary, and it really makes you hyper aware of when you're going about your daily business, you can be being watched, and I don't want to scare anyone with this. Moreover, it's kind of like a story time, but also I just want to make you all more hyper aware of what's going on around you. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So I was thinking about what to do today, and last night David and I were reminiscing over something that happened a few years ago now that was really scary, very, well, not unexplained. I think it was really obvious why it happened, but something that happened that was really scary. Some of you, if you've been with me a while, might remember the Orange Bentley. So going back to I think it was 2017, maybe 2018, I did a video where we collected the car, and in that video you saw that we, as I mentioned, bought a Bentley and it was orange. And we should have realised, don't know why we didn't think about it really, but it did draw a lot of attention because of the colour of it and because of the car it was. And that attention was always good attention. It was always people that wanted to see the car closer up. You know, you went to a petrol station and there'd be people being like, oh, can I get a picture? Like, it was literally like that. And that's fine, you know, and we had a lot of people who had little kids and the kids wanted to see the car up close, and that was all cool. We never really thought too much about any possible negative side of owning that car, because they didn't seem to be at the time. It was all, as I say, it was all fine. So one day we'd gone into central London and we'd gone in the Bentley. I have a lot of you that ask me why I don't get the tube in. I don't get the tube because it is not safe. If I go shopping and I come back home with carrier bags, it's not safe to be carrying those on the tube. It's bad enough walking from Harrods back to the car with them, but I definitely wouldn't be getting on the tube. I just don't think the tube is safe. I've done a video on this before as well, but I was followed on the tube by someone who was blatantly trying to pickpocket me. I will try and find that video and link to it below, because that was really scary as well. But since that time, unless I am dressed down, I don't use the tube. So that's why I don't get the tube. And that's why we always drive and park at Harrods. Or there's like an NCP nearby. Anyway, whatever. We'd gone into central London one day. We'd gone shopping. Now, I don't know whether this was connected, okay, so just bear with me. We'd gone shopping and we'd walked back to the car with shopping bags. So like Chanel or Dior, whatever it was that day. I remember we'd been shopping. Got back into the car and we thought, right, before going straight home, let's go and get a takeaway. So we drove back home, went to like a local Chinese takeaway that was there, ordered our food. When we got back in the car to go home, there was a car that we noticed that was following us. It followed us to the point where, you know, when you just get a gut feel, it wasn't just like there happened to be someone behind us who was going to in the same direction. It was following, but we were getting vibes from it. So we didn't go home. We drove around the block. It was following us around the block. We went further than the block. We went slightly out of town. It was following us. It wasn't letting up at all. And at this point, we were freaking out. Now, one thing that some car influencers told me a couple of years ago, car influencers, I would personally never do this, but they show their registration plates online, and they have said that they have also been followed. And I remembered what one of them told me, which is that if you ever get followed, find a roundabout and keep going round it, and eventually the person following you will realise you know they're following you, and they will very often go away. Or that's what had happened to him. So we got to this big roundabout. I said to David, right, remember what Archie told us, go around that roundabout, do not stop going round it until we've lost this guy. We start going round it. We get to like the third or fourth time around this roundabout and this car is not turning off. We are freaking out, completely freaking out. We get off the roundabout and we manage to lose this car in traffic. And I just said to David, right, we've lost the guy, let's get home as quickly as possible without this person catching us up. So we're like driving, not breaking any speed limits, can I just say, but we were driving to shake off this person. And just as we're getting to where we live, the car appears 2 cars behind us again. We turned into where we live and the car followed us. And where we live, without giving like loads away for privacy reasons, we've got like massive gates. And we pulled up to the gates and we've got like a double gate. And this car pulls in behind us, pauses for a considerable amount of time. We've got all the doors locked, okay, in our car, all of the doors locked. Sees, I think this is what happened. They see this level of security, or something happened with them, but they did a U-turn and then they drove off. I was absolutely terrified because years before this, in a place we used to live at, oh my God, going back like 10 years, when we had the Lamborghini, we had people turn up to that as well. Do you remember I did a story time on that where I told you about how a group of young boys turned up in an Audi and they were all looking underneath the car. They were like on the road looking underneath the car, and the police told us that they were looking for jack points and that they would be coming back at another point and they would lift the car and steal it that way. They don't even need the keys. Don't ask me how they do this, but apparently they don't need the keys. So I was remembering that, so was David, and we were like, oh my God, now they know where we live. What are we going to do? So we get into the house, phone the police, nothing the police can do. We didn't get a registration number because the guy was behind us the whole time, so we couldn't get a registration number. We gave a description of the car, and we quietly just freaked out for several weeks after that. God willing, nothing ever happened. And we did increase our security after that happened, I will say. But it made us realise that that person could have seen us in central London with the shopping bags. Or that person could have been driving past the Chinese takeaway, seen the car and decided to follow and see whether it was stealable. Do you see what I mean? You just don't know which scenario could have happened in that situation. But I really want to stress to any of you without freaking you out, like I don't want to scare anyone, but this kind of thing could happen to anyone. And I've said this before, but it's really easy to be complacent. With these stories, you might be watching going, well, you're online and that's why it happened. Not necessarily. I know of people that have been robbed blind and they aren't online. Like I've told you before about a friend of ours who collects watches. He had the whole lot stolen when he was on holiday. He's not even on Facebook. He's not on anything. And his gut suspicion is that he used to go down the pub, meet with people. He always had his flash watch on. He drove a McLaren. He's got a nice life. And his gut suspicion is that somebody had told someone, and that's how it came about, that whoever it was knew that he had this collection. And I think that we all just need to be hyper aware, and I try and act like that now. When I go into central London, I don't carry the shopping bags that they give you in the stores. So do I have it round here? No, I don't. Ages ago, Enrique at Dior gave me a really nice tote bag, and it does have Dior written on it, but you really have to look for it to see that it's written there. There's no like monogram, and it's not written in the logo signature, like the style. I take that with me now. I fold it up, put it in my handbag, and I take it with me everywhere, whether it's grocery shopping or whether I'm going to Harrods and I might buy something. And what I do when I've bought something, I give that tote bag to the sales associate, and I'm like, when you're packing it up, can you please not put it in one of your bags, but actually just put it in this. I've had a lot of you tell me you do the same thing when you go shopping. And actually, who is it? The Real Shakin. Check out her channel if you don't watch her. She's really nice. She's so lovely. But I remember a while ago her buying like this massive non-branded tote bag. And actually, I don't know whether she still uses it. If you're watching, let me know. But I remember her using this massive, great big, non-branded tote bag, and that's what she was using when she went shopping, to like put everything in so that you're not a target. If you don't have a tote bag, I've gone in there before with like a supermarket carrier bag before. I don't even care. I would rather have people look at me going, oh, why's she come in here with like a Waitrose carrier bag or Tesco or something, than potentially be a target walking back to the car because I've got something that's got like Chanel written across the front of it. So if you are just an average person and you're into luxury and you're into this kind of thing, be aware of who might be watching you. Be aware of who might be following you. God, I don't want to freak anyone out, but it can happen to anyone. Think about Hermes. A lot of you have told me that in Hermes, I'm not sure, because the last time I bought in there, this didn't happen. I don't know whether they only do it with the bags, but I've seen that they put the bags into a blank white carrier bag, and then they give you the orange actual bag, and they put that in the package with it, so that you can walk to your car or wherever and it doesn't look like you've been shopping in Hermes. I have bought a belt from there before in a little dish, and that didn't happen with those, but it might only be something that they do with like the Kellys and the Birkins or the bags, for example. So be hyper aware. We did sell the Bentley, not for that reason actually, it was a car we didn't really get on with, actually, for multiple reasons. And yeah, I suppose the colour was one of those reasons, because after that it did freak us out a bit. And also, you know what else we did think? It's such a distinctive car. We didn't want whoever that was seeing the car in the local area and then thinking, right, I know where you live, and then being able to plan an actual sort of robbery as such. So we sold the car and changed it for something else. If you've enjoyed this, I will link to a couple more videos here and here. I might actually link to some of the ones to do with this, where I talk about things being stolen and about security risks. So if you were interested in this video and you want to watch them more, then click on one of these and you might find them interesting. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you hopefully in one of these.